What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going over the Worthy Gods Necropolis Karina's Challenge. And I just want to kind of break down each of the fights, the team options that you have here. So the reason this one is going second, basically as each challenge goes, your roster essentially gets smaller from who you can choose from, right? So if you saw in the first challenge, you had the entire mutant class. Now you have hashtag gods and hashtag Culls Worthy. Don't have to be both, it's just got to be either or, and they qualify for this challenge. So, So this challenge starts with Titania. Hit the checkpoint at Omega Sentinel where you complete the first objective. Then you continue on to completing the entire challenge with Pyschoman. So there's a few options that you have, and luckily the options that you do have are good. So this is the team that I brought with me, at least at the time. So this was I had a 6-star rank 4 Serpent, 6-star rank 5 Ascended Absman, Odin, Hulk, I think Odin's rank 1 and Hulk's rank 2, Unduped, and then Hercules 6-star rank 5. If I had to do this one again, I probably would have changed out Hercules for maybe Heimdall, just for that synergy. There's a few other options that you have too, but what we'll do is we'll go through each fight. I can explain kind of the things you got to watch out for and who you could use. That way, you know, if you're putting together a team and you don't have one of the champions I have or some other YouTubers have, then, you know, you can work with what you've got. So the first fight is Titania, and basically the path node, first off, is take your medicine. So for every well-timed block, you get a 25% potency Tranquilize passive. So Tranquilize basically stops you from placing debuffs on your opponent. It reduces the ability accuracy of debuffs. That includes the parry mastery. So that's kind of where you got to be careful. In certain scenarios where if you stacked up too many Tranquilizes, I mean, even one can cause a parry to fail, and it might not be something that you're expecting. So something to watch out for. But otherwise, it's really not too bad of a path node. There is a reason this is called the easy path, because it's the easiest one to do. So pretty easy path node at least. But back to Titania. So basically throughout the fight, whenever she gains her Haymaker, it goes off like normal when she dashes or uses a heavy attack. And whenever you dash backwards, you get like a small timer. And if you dash back again, her indestructible, unblockable, and unstoppable passives will pause for 1 second. So you can't be just straight up running away from her to avoid that, because it'll just keep it paused, and then you'll be backed up against the wall. So the real key to this fight is just keeping her back against the wall and having her throw specials at you as often as possible. The less amount of time you can have her in her Haymaker, the better off you are and the more damage you'll be able to do. Any one of the champions suffice for this part. I mean, if you're bringing someone like Shothra, I wouldn't recommend using Mystic champions, like Shothra or White Tiger. Wouldn't recommend it. Any of the other champions are great options. Serpent really dominates this whole challenge. I mean, even my 6-star rank 4 was doing phenomenal throughout the fights with the Odin buffs, or the Odin pre-fights. It's pretty darn crazy how well they do and how much damage he can do. So if you've got a 6-star rank 5 or a 7-star even, rank him up maybe, rank 1 or 2 for 7 stars. I mean, it doesn't hurt to rank 3 him, he's a great champion anyway, and you'll be pretty much mowing through this challenge. And the same goes for, as you move on to Vision Arcus here, essentially he just gets a ton of power gain, and you get special locked every so often. You really don't notice it too much. It's just if you were to purify any of the debuffs, which it probably wouldn't be wise to do that anyway. So honestly, this is just Absman food. If you have Absorbiman, he's fantastic for this fight because he's immune to the cold snap in his magma form, and he's also immune to the armor breaks. So he'll basically be paused in his magma form the entire time. The only thing you gotta watch out for is he gains specials pretty quickly. He has lots of power gain. And so in the Necropolis, a special 3 from a defender is an automatic death. So that's pretty much the one thing you have to watch out for, is if you can keep him throwing specials and you fit in your specials, you'll be doing great. Throw a special 3, I think it's 1 or 2 special 3s, and your crit rate is boosted, and you'll be doing insane damage. He goes down pretty quickly at that point. Remember, just when he reaches like a bar of power or a bar and a half, just start baiting the special. Okay, don't keep going with a 5-hit combo or parry him. You know what I mean? Just let him throw the specials at you. That way you can just keep him from getting a special 3. With Omega Sentinel, so again, checkpoint fight. Omega Sentinel essentially just gets her auto block a bit more often. It can trigger the parry mastery, you know, in the first phase and so on. And she gets armor ups a bit more often. So again, she'll be auto blocking but a bit more often. But if you have the masteries that reduce your stun duration from opponents, it drops off immediately. So you can use virtually anyone for this fight. You'll get auto blocked and incinerated if you're not immune, but she's not going to unleash a 5-hit combo on you because the stun will just fall right off and you just block again, and then watch out for a heavy attack or something. Specials are pretty easy to dex, and she's not too tanky even with the armor ups. So funny enough, I thought I brought Hercules for this fight because I figured he could bypass the auto block, but the incinerates still do damage, and the stun's not a big deal. So Absman actually does really well here because you can just use his magma form again and he'll be immune to the incinerate. Then you just shrug off the stuns real quick and you're good to go through the rest of the fight. You can also use, again, Serpent. You can use Super Serpent here. Probably should have used him more often myself. He does carry through this challenge. Moving on to Airwalker. So like last time I mentioned, Airwalker's a place where people can get stuck. You've just got to be careful. So every 15 seconds he gains his Galactus buff, which heals him for a ton. He goes unstoppable and other things. So you want to prioritize knocking him down. And then second, you want to prioritize blocking his special ones. You don't want the Dark Tide buff. But what you can, and so luckily though, Absman's immune to the armor break. So you're not going to take any damage from that, essentially. And so if you're good with Absman, go with your magma form. And if you can cycle the knockdowns and get to special 2s, you'll melt him pretty fast. Otherwise, you can just do this with special 1s. You have really, really high crit resistance, and you can heal, obviously. So you can stick with special 1s, which gets your knockdowns more often. And again, prioritize knocking down. You can also do this with Serpent, Odin, Hulk. Really, anyone can do this fight. It's more of a nodes-based fight. With Captain Britain, just like the last challenge, you'll get exhaustion debuffs when she throws a special attack. Those exhaustions will be purified and you'll gain reverse controls. And so you just got to watch out for your exhaustion timers when she throws a special attack. Basically, watch your exhaustions when you're trying to bait out a special attack. I mean, you can block. I wouldn't recommend it towards the latter end of the fight, but early on you can, so it's not too big of a deal. You can use anyone here. I think I used Odin, and that's when I kind of realized how hard he actually hits. So Odin's a great option, Serpent, Hercules. Oh, I actually did forget to mention, guys, with Airwalker you could also use Shothra. If you have a Shothra, you could use White Tiger. The damage for White Tiger might not scale super well with something like this, like long fights, but Shothra could definitely do it. If you got a Shothra, you could bring her there. Moving on to Wiccan. This is why you bring Hulk. If you've got Hulk or Titania or Thing, you could bring all of them. None of them are immune to Incinerate, so that's kind of the one issue. But they all have very few buffs, is kind of the idea. And essentially, they all do physical damage. So Wiccan's special 1s actually won't heal him for very much, even with, you know, how jacked up he is as a Necropolis defender. And so the heal won't be too crazy if you want to stick to special 1s. It'll just take you longer and you definitely won't solo the fight. If you want to solo, you've got to push him to special 2s, but then you've got to be able to dex them. So that's the challenge there. So if you want to just kind of nice and easy, take him down slowly with a few revives, then do special 1s, knock him down as much as you can. But I would probably recommend trying to do special 2s. You can block the first couple hits, you know, and just make sure you don't actually get hit, otherwise you'll get some shocks and that'll really drain you fast. And the final fight is Pyschoman. And so unlike the Mutant Challenge, Pyschoman's way easy here, right? Because you brought gods and Culls Worthy Champions. And so you're probably got a few Cosmics on your team, like Serpent, Hercules, Odin. Absolutely demolish this guy. So those are the ones you want to be using here. Just stick to the prompts that it gives you, and Pyschoman will go down pretty darn quickly. So that's going to be the Gods Worthy Challenge. Sorry, Worthy Gods Challenge. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I can help you kind of build teams or get your strategy going. There's a lot to think about with these. So if you need any help, please just let me know. But best of luck in the battle realm, my friends.